Yeah. Ben Matherin's obviously out for tonight. How's his progress coming? You said there's a chance he could play on this trip. Do you still think there is in the last 2 games?
Possible. Yeah.
How's he?
He's doing well.
Back? How's he coming along?
He's doing well. Yeah. He's making progress. He participated in a workout yesterday, and he worked out this morning. And so he's making progress, doing well. We'll see. I can't tell you exactly when.
Sure.
Rick, what do you take from the game last week against Boston? You guys were able to beat them, and gotten your offense going in a couple games against them. Like, what are some of the positives you feel like you guys drew from that?
Well, pretty open-ended question. We're an aggressive team. We're going to be aggressive. We're very process-oriented. We want to play with tempo and movement and try to create problems offensively and defensively. We're a system team, and Boston's a unique offensive team, and so they're very, very good. They're a very precise team. They've got a lot of skill. The way they make the 3-point shots is, they're right up there at the very top of the league with just shot making ability and doing it somewhat unconventionally. The stuff they run for full speed movement threes. A lot of teams aren't doing that, and so it makes them hard to guard. With us this year, with being down some guys, it's been all about putting 48 minutes together. We've had a lot of stretches of games where we've been good for 3 quarters and not good for the entire game, and so in the game against Boston, the last one, we built a lead in the third, and which helped us, down the stretch when it went back and forth to hold on, and Pascal made a great shot, and they missed a shot, and that's the balance of winning and losing.
I was going to ask your perspective on this year, obviously knowing the challenge coming in without Tyrese and then losing all the different guys along the way that you have here. Like, what have been your takeaways from the first half, and trying to get as much as you can out of this year, given the guys who have been out?
Yeah, we're just we're working at development. There's a lot of opportunity for a lot of guys, including some of our younger guys that are very important to us. And so, while wins have been difficult to come by, there's been significant growth, and we gotta lean into that and be uncompromising about the fact that we're trying to win.
Coach, this is the 4th time you guys have played Boston this year. Obviously, they lost a lot of pieces over the summer. Jason hasn't been active this year. Has your viewpoint on this current group changed from the start of the season up until now that you've played them a few times?
My view?
Just like the way you scout them, the way you thought they would play, maybe your perception on
Well,
pieces would fit where.
Yeah, I had every expectation that they were going to be a high-level team. Derek White's an all-star. He's an all-star player. The guy's 8th in the league in block shots, and he's such an important part of their team. Their team is playing very well. They're up in the standings. Brown is. You need to talk about how great he is. And you knew Pritchard was going to be a guy that would grow into more responsibility the way he has, and so they've done a good job with everything here. They're hard to play. Their big guys are they're very focused on what their job is, and they do it very, very well. And so the shooting is it's next level. Hauser and Pritchard and White and Brown. We had the game here in December when we had played a very good offensive game, and there was a play toward the end where it was a low shot clock underneath play, and Brown catches it in front of their bench and just jumps over our guy and hits a 3. And that kind of a play. Normally they have two guys that can do that with Tatum, but even when you just have one, you still are a very potent team. So I did not come into this thinking that they were not going to be a very, very good team.
Joe has talked about the concept of depth in the NBA has changed. It used to be how much high-level talent can you get on a roster. Now it's just how many different guys can you have that can do things, shoot, defend, stuff like that. It seems like it's kind of like a model of what you guys have done. Do you see that as kind of like the future here, especially in the second apron era where it's just harder to pay a lot of guys?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of comments about that. We have had a different approach the last 3 or 4 years. Kevin and Chad have done a great job of building our roster with complementary pieces and a strength in numbers approach. Because of that, and in large part because of how well the roster is put together, when we're missing 1 or 2 or 3, guys, it really affects our ecosystem, and it's tough. We went through it last year, early in the year, when we were down. Neesmith was out, and then Shepard and Nemhart were out. Those are 3 guys that may not be considered like star caliber players, but they're very good players, and they're very, very important to our system. And so I do agree, roster construction is very important, and then as everybody knows, player health is very important.